Hey to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, McCaffrey's Clinical Mentoring, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, Angela Pearson, author of I'm Not Contagious, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 160 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your co-host, Luke Millette. Here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Matt Breske, and if you want to know more about center point meditation and intuitive mind solutions, stay tuned. This is episode 160, and this is my friend Matt Breske, and you're coming in from the Netherlands today, and we're coming in from, I call Colorado the Sunshine State because we get 300 days of sunshine a year. And how long you been practicing chiropractic now?
12 years.
12 years.
Yep.
So as we lead into this Chiro Hustle episode, we always start out by asking, the conversation starts with, what is your chiropractic story and what influenced you to become a chiropractor?
Okay, so I was a college football player. I played college football in Augustana College. Now it's called Augustana University. Not the one where we were in school, but for chiropractic in Illinois, but there's an Augustana in South Dakota. And played college football, and I sustained a pretty massive injury to where I had a double disc hernia, 2 herniated discs in one injury. And it kind of was devastating to a lot of things. And I was trying a lot of things so I could play again, because it was only in my second year of college that this happened. And I went to physical therapy, and then I ended up going to a chiropractor as well. And the chiropractic philosophy was something that changed my perspective on what I thought I knew. So then I ended up getting better, and I ended up playing 3 more seasons. So that means I didn't even have surgery on something that the orthopedic doctor says, yeah, you're going to need surgery because this isn't something that's going to go away. But I proved that wrong. And then after I was done with school, I decided I had all different options, medical school or chiropractic school. And I was even thinking of dental school. And then one day it just dawned on me after a fishing trip with some friends. I was like, I'm meant to be a chiropractor. And I decided that fishing trip that's where it was going to happen, because I knew I could tell the story that happened to me to people. And I knew how bad that pain was. And I wanted to help people get out of that situation as well. And I was called to it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people's stories kind of bridge into your narrative. I think a lot of times people they get hurt and they've tried everything out there under the sun, and then all of a sudden they some little bird whispers in their ear, "Hey, go see the chiropractor," and then all of a sudden this spontaneous care comes into our life where we're like, wow, I didn't know I didn't have to live with headaches. That's odd.
Yeah. Like when people say, when I ask them, so you have headaches, or how often do you have headaches? They're like, oh, like normal, like 2 or 3 times a week, normal. And I'm like, no, that's not normal for you to be having headaches 2 to 3 times a week. And they came to me for like lower back pain. They're like, oh, I didn't know you could fix, or I didn't know that chiropractic could help with headaches. And so, that's in the US, it was common knowledge from the clinics I worked in. But in the Netherlands, chiropractic is still on its early stages of the growth and development. And that comes along with resistance too.
Yeah, so I think that's something that makes it unique for you as well. Is you practiced for 6 years in the States, and then you've now been practicing in the Netherlands. Tell us about that journey a little bit, and what maybe some resistance that you've experienced is.
Well, people have this misconception in the Netherlands what chiropractic is. They actually have a term they call us, oh, you've been a cracker. So like a cracker. So you crack bones. And I'm like, wait a minute. That is definitely not what we are. And I educate them at the beginning of this when this conversation happens about what chiropractic is. And I go back to the basic root philosophy of what chiropractic is. And I keep it very simple. But I go, it is a simple philosophy on how chiropractic works. Chiropractic is the way we improve your ability for your brain to connect and communicate with your body so your body can heal itself in the most optimal way possible. And, I always talk with the most clear principles I can to make them understandable. And then the people, there's no discussion after you just tell the truth. They're like, okay. The only barriers we have in the Netherlands is the resistance we have is certain things with the treatment or adjusting plans that we have. The Dutch culture has kind of some blocks with the financial aspect of things, because they used to have a socialized healthcare system where everything was paid for. And now they've changed it to a kind of an insurance company's insurance program similar to the US. And you have to have a certain level in your insurance package that will cover only like 8 to 12 chiropractic adjustments per year. That's all. And so when you talking to them, a lot of the people I encounter here, they'll be like, well, I can only go through the 8 visits. And I'm like, you need more than that. But they're so entrained from the past that they have a troubled time with that aspect of it, because the insurance companies are kind of not serving the chiropractic as the same way they serve the physical therapy, because of the misunderstanding of how chiropractic works. Or it's just, you can go into the theory that if people get chiropractic care, they're not going to be going to their house doctor as often. So therefore, they're not going to be spending in pharmaceuticals. So therefore, they're going to restrict what the insurance companies will pay out. What the insurance companies will pay out for the adjustments. So we're still in that point to where we're educating more and more and getting our treatment plans across, saying, hey, this is what it is. Insurance company will maybe cover this much. You're going to have to cover that much. And so that's a little bit of resistance we're having now, because the insurance companies are changing a lot of things on a yearly basis. Recently, what did they do? Recently, they're giving less money and less treatments for no reason. And I feel like that's an attack on chiropractic. So getting this information out, saying if this is the case, that means we're doing something right, is we're getting people better, and the right people that need to find us will find us. That's why this week, after the first day we're open after the COVID-19, we get 82 phone calls in the clinic in one day. So,
well, you are telling the fact that the reason reimbursement doesn't happen is because there's no long-term investment for pharmaceuticals and people being well and healthy.
yeah.
And they are directly connected to the financier, who is the insurance companies. So I'm sure if you went to any party where there was pharmaceutical reps, there would be insurance reps.
Yeah.
They drink from the same cup.
Yeah.
And what they say is, hey, why would I have you go to the chiropractor? There's no money in that for us. Well, why would I reimburse for that? There's no money in that for us. And what you're talking about is a population that has been so used to, if they have a pain, a strain, an ill, or anything going on, they go out to their provider and it's not out of pocket. So now when you say, hey, buddy, you have something going on and you've only got 8 visits for us, but after that's over, you have to come out of pocket and you have to pay for the health of your body. And that's an investment, just like you would go and buy organic groceries, and you would go and, have a personal trainer. Like, yeah, you're going to have to pay for chiropractic care just as you would pay for dental services if you have to get braces. And it's not covered under your policy of your insurance carrier. But I think that that's where we have to, like you said, you have to go back to the fundamentals and tell the story. And after you let them know, like, hey, chiropractic does this. This is why we provide the services that we do. No more questions. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we're doing right now. And I'm focusing on the people that come to us. And now with the help of your program and what I see how you're working, we're revamping our marketing strategies to get more of the word out via social media and other ways, emailing, to get more of that truth out. We've been mostly going mouth to mouth advertising, and now we're going to expand into getting a bigger reach. And we're building that foundation right now as we speak. And I was going to say something as well. One of my colleagues that I work with, Joshua Baudouins, he was telling, I think he might have talked to you when we interviewed you on our podcast. And he was talking about that quack organization, that this is a highly funded organization in the Netherlands that will try to discredit any of the holistic therapists or chiropractors in the Netherlands by funding even medical doctors to slander chiropractic, to say to their clients, to their patients that no, chiropractic is dangerous. So this type of resistance on a higher level is something that I'm ready to stand up against, and I'm done with it. People need to understand that these bullies with money are just a bunch of bullies. They got no spines, and they need to be put in their place eventually. And so we're also getting ready to stand against that type of resistance. And I'm ready for it, because that type of pushing around is the same thing that happened with that lawsuit with the chiropractors and the AMA. And we only have about 400 to 500 chiropractors all total in the Netherlands. So finding our unified front is where we're starting, and uniting the chiropractors in a way that we can stand together against that type of bullying and resistance.
So do you have any mantras or motivational quotes that help you through tough times like that?
Stay relaxed. That's one thing I try to do and say to myself. And when it comes to certain things and certain activities, when it comes to a lot of things, whether I'm adjusting clients in the office and I have a busy day, or I get double booked and I'm going to run behind, sometimes you get into the state in your mind that you have to hurry. And this can be something that everybody does in all aspects of our lives, is when we get into that hurry, rushed mode, that's when, and you start working in order to complete a task, that's when mistakes can happen. So one of the quotes I always use, and maybe Bruce Lee said this, I'm not sure who said it, but it's just simple, is slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Relax. See what you're doing, feel what you're doing, understand what you're doing, and do it with purpose, not just to get it done. And then you slow things down and everything becomes fluid movement. And then you don't make mistakes. Then you become present. But if you're thinking about the end of what you have to do, that means you're already at the end of the day in your head. And then that's when mistakes happen. That's when yeah, in chiropractic, that's when people can get hurt. Because if you're worried about getting done with your day and you have your last client on the table and you're not thinking about that client, you're thinking about what you're going to do after work, that's when mistakes happen. That's when quality of care goes down. So I can keep that slow as smooth as fast in my head. And that's, really, really good for calming me down, kind of as a mantra.
Yeah, I think that's important to be present and to be easy on yourself, and to know that as a trained professional that you're there to facilitate care for people. And I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me. Let's go back a little bit though. And I know you do something with meditation, and I know you do something, you have a banner over your head that says Intuitive Mind Solutions. So let's talk about your uniqueness and what you're doing right now for the chiropractic space, and what you're doing for people that don't know what to do for their health. So maybe you can give us some insight on the center point meditation and Intuitive Mind Solutions.
Okay. So the center point meditation, having 2 disc hernias in your back, I ended up getting a third one. And eventually I did something a few years ago to where I went through my back again really bad, and I had a serious issue come up to where I had a paralysis my left leg, and I couldn't step anymore on my left leg, and I couldn't lift my left leg. I had what they call drop foot, and I had very little reflexes left in my leg. And I had been playing with the center point meditation technique this was before it had a name. And I had been doing this method on myself, just kind of experimenting with it. And then I've been showing it to clients. And it didn't really have a name until I was able to perform this meditation on myself for about 45 seconds. And I stand up with nothing, no pain, no paralysis. All reflexes came back within that 45 seconds. And I call it a meditation is because we found out that when you perform it within 10 to 20 seconds of performing this on an individual, your body goes into a meditative state. Your alpha brain patterns and your theta brain patterns get elevated, and your body goes into a relaxed parasympathetic rest and digest state. And it happens instantaneously, and it doesn't ever not happen according to my clinical cases, to everybody I do it with. So what I did is I investigated deeper and deeper and started researching it clinically by asking clients questions about it. And I found out it had a direct connection to our mental state. This is actually a technique that to get to the meditative state, you have to reposition your body in a way to relax your mind. Traditional meditation, we use our minds to relax the body. Well, this is actually using your body to relax the mind. And I've actually decoded the map of the mental activity that can occur in the human body during times of stress and can be the cause of stress. So when you have a physical reaction in your body from too much thinking about the future, your system is in unease and can have dis-ease. So then me and you were talking one day about it, and then we were talking about the mental subluxation, the above atlas subluxation, and how powerful and how relevant that is to the physical subluxation that can occur in the body, how connected they are. So if you have a constant stressed, repeated mental state, like always fear of the future and worry, then your body is always going to go back to that physical subluxation pattern. So you have to find a way to stop that pattern mentally. And that's not as easy as just telling somebody, stop thinking too much about the future. That's not going to work. And you can't tell somebody to stop feeling. And the other spectrum is people that can be highly sensitive and they can feel their surroundings. And what can happen is they build tension in a way to protect their body from an unknown stressor. And this comes from biology, from the instinctive activities that animals possess. And so imagine if you think and feel too much and on a constant basis, and I tell people this, the only way I can make you stop thinking and feeling is if I kill you, because it's going to always be busy. So imagine a backpack on your back and your thoughts and your feelings are constantly filling that backpack up. Your body is going to be in a state that isn't able to function and heal itself adequately enough because you have that heavy backpack. And we found out that center point meditation empties that backpack. So your body can thrive and your body can heal, rest and digest, and the parasympathetic state can be activated so the issues can heal. But if you have somebody constantly worrying and doesn't ever stop that, you can adjust them. They'll leave. They'll still be worried about the shit that they're worried about. And then their attention pattern comes back, and then their pain pattern comes back, and their physical subluxations come back. And so we found a way to use the center point technique in clinical settings. And I've also created an online program now because of COVID-19. I was teaching people how to do this themselves at home. Now we created an online program so people can start to understand these principles about our human nature and our biology that need to be addressed in order to understand your mental state at all times so you can be the boss of how you think and how you feel. Not how the system and the cultural world makes us think and makes us feel. And that power is really something I want to spread to other people and give to other people so they can control their own thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, and I think, we just need to touch on this method a little bit more because a lot of times people get stuck in a pattern of dysfunction or disease, as you said, and it could be in us for a decade. It could be in us since birth. It could be some trauma that we experienced that was a rapid occurrence that we knew because of high level force, like your football injury.
Yeah.
So there's different types of issues in the tissues, as they say.
Yeah.
It all depends on how we get that type of injury. It could be a mental blockage that we never really felt that were supported through something that was like, mental trauma. And then, as you say, over time, it becomes something that becomes ingrained in our nervous system, becomes a physical trauma. Yep. And if you don't address the mental trauma with the physical trauma, there's no way to unwind the issue in the tissue and allow the body to actually start going back to, as the medical profession calls, homeostasis, which is the balance of healing. And you understand, like, the mind has a certain frequency and the body has a certain frequency, and bodies heal at different rates, whether it's a mental capacity or a physical capacity. So we have to understand that the body and the mind is connected, and that's all through the nervous system, which flows through the spinal cord, which controls the organ system. And for those of you that might be listening that don't understand this, the organ system is called the organ system because it's organized. But if there's disharmony and disorganization in the mental synapses that are going to the spinal cord, then there's going to be something that becomes subluxated. And that's usually something that happens in the physical body. But sometimes it's spurred by something that's in the metaphysical body, which is in above the atlas, like you were saying. So the above atlas subluxation definitely has a downstream effect on the physical body. And if we don't correct the mental with the physical and allow the body to, as you said, relax and go back into ease, then the body's going to be in a tension state, and you could get adjusted for the next 20 years of your life. But if we don't address the root cause, which is a lot of times a mental blockage or a mental something stuck mentally in us. And like I said, man, it could happen at birth. It could happen at 5 years old. It could happen at 12. You could have fallen out of a tree and you never told somebody that you fell out of the tree and you injured yourself, and you're wondering why at 22 years old that when you're sprinting at like your peak performance, why you're not healing. But yeah, it all comes back to some type of a physical, chemical, or emotional trauma.
Yeah. And one thing is, I think is interesting about the center point is we found out, when I do certain tests, we find out people have layers of this mental activity. So they have every aspect of thinking and feeling. So we break down the thoughts into thinking about the past, present, future, and then we break the feeling or the intuition down into instinct, empathy, and emotions. And everybody's got all these things going at once, but then usually everybody's got a primary. But we've actually found that some people had really, when we assessed them psychologically, they didn't have a lot of psychological issues. It was just it was a physical trauma, like what happened to my back. And now we're not contemplating, we're theorizing that if you can bring your body into such a state, how fast can you heal with the right intention from your brain's ability to communicate with a body part that you want to heal? So when we talk about nerve speed, and we talk about the speed of a nerve transmission from your brain to your toes, you have over 100 communications that happen every single second. Every single second. So this is how I explain it to clients that get better within the 20 seconds. If they have massive pain and I center point them for 20 seconds and then they stand up and they're like, well, how'd that happen? I don't have any pain anymore. Well, if the brain subconscious wants to get rid of that pain and you give it that window of 20 seconds times 100 communications per second, how many different possibilities does that create for your body to find a solution to that issue? So we're testing some waters on how to amplify the healing speed of physical trauma on the body by silencing the noise that your thoughts and your feelings create, and by blocking the healing process. And so we're just at the tip of the iceberg with that type of research that we're doing. And I think it's really cool to be able to be part of it and work on it.
So based on what you're saying is you're talking about like an expedited version of meditation for pain management.
Absolutely. That's all center point meditation is. It's a very expedited, so we can get the person into the mental meditative state within 10 to 20 seconds. And then they know what meditation feels like. So this is like a stepping stone. If you have people, because most people's brains and thoughts are the block from people to get into that meditative state. That's why you have people that practice for years and years and years, and they'll do a 30-minute meditation, maybe with 1 or 2 minutes of that whole 30 minutes was actually in the Zen alpha state. And so that's exactly perfect how you said it, is expediting that process. So I did it with you, Luke.
Yes, you did.
I did it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did it. Yeah, also.
You did it on distance for me when I was at an airport and I was struggling.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was.
But it's always true. The issue is in the tissue.
Mm-hmm. And we want to just amplify our body's receptiveness to heal. And the thing is, it works on everybody. And I would go to anybody on the street and I can demonstrate it to them. And that's the coolest thing about it is this isn't something that a type of meditation you need to have a belief structure or a belief system in play in order to believe that it works. Then it works. I don't have to say anything to somebody before I do it. And it's a physical change that happens in the body all the time when we do it.
And, that goes back to the root of this.
Yeah.
Like if somebody has something going on and you're a chiropractor, you're not in the convincing business.
No.
You're a healer. And if somebody shows up and knocks on your door or gives you the phone call or the text or the instant message, they're there to prove to themselves that they need help. It's not your job to say, hey, man, I need you to come and see me these many times because this is what I'm going to convince you on. They know, like inherently inside of their heart, that they're looking to you for a solution, which is your service to heal them.
Yeah. And our job as chiropractors is do your best way that you can to communicate the truth without convincing, without selling. Just tell the truth. That's enough.
Yeah. Do you want to go bowl tomorrow? Okay. Well, I want to help you bowl. You want to pick up your grandkids on the weekend? Well, I want to help you pick up your grandkids on the weekend. You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, Chirothin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, McCaffrey's Clinical Mentoring, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, Angela Pearson, author of I'm Not Contagious, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
And that's where the center point meditation technique can, I'm just glad I found it and not somebody else in another profession. Really, because this technique belongs in the chiropractic profession. And it belongs in a lot of different professions, in psychology as well, psychiatry as well, just because my friend who's a counselor of psychology, he uses it now and he can reverse diagnose his clients within the 20 to 30 seconds, and he knows right where to go in the conversations. He knows right where to go within that 10 to 20 seconds that normally took him 15 to 30 minutes to get to that point. And so the applications that we have for Centerpoint is infinite at this point from what we see. So I'm very fortunate that I came across it. And when I did the research on something like it existing in the world, it doesn't. So right now we've created our program. We created our program so we can teach as many people around the world this technique as we can. And that's our goal. That's our vision and mission. And that's why we created the Intuitive Mind Solutions. And the Intuitive Mind Solutions was kind of a name that came up with because I needed a business platform name, because Centerpoint meditation it's a technique. It's an add-on for people to use. It's not a business. So I created Intuitive Mind Solutions as the name of the side business outside of my chiropractic practice that is managing. But then we came in with the we help people help people. And what I want to be able to do is to help support the people that are in the world helping others in any way we can. Create a synergy with others, create an environment, a community that shows the human population what real cooperation is. Show us our strength. You guys seen that movie? I'm sure the Planet of the Apes, where one of the baboon or the orangutan, he says one monkey is one stick is weak, bunch of sticks together is strong. That's a simple principle. But if you look in nature, it's there, but the cultural system has screwed all that up. The cultural system, even now it's even worse, is trying to keep people separated from each other, which weakens our species. When our true strength comes in cooperation and working together to make this world a better place. So this is a very ideological business. And I don't care. I'll be an idealist my whole life, I guess, because I believe that the power of cooperation is so much stronger than competition. And so then we created a podcast around the Intuitive Mind Solutions as well. Your show that I interviewed you on will be next week or the week after. We'll be releasing it. We're just releasing them every week. After this show, I will release our interview we had with Dr. Jack Wolfson. And each of the shows, as you were there, we talked about a controversial topic. Because the freedom of speech thing, we're getting banned everywhere. People are getting banned for telling the truth. The censorship is crazy. And so there needs to be a voice for people to speak up and say the truth and filter the truths out from all the misinformation that's surrounding everything we see on the news. It's just all misinformation. What is true is true. truth there you can't deny. And so the idea of our podcast as well, in what we have is the Council of Controversy, is to filter the truths out. Irrefutable, undeniable facts. And encourage people to think for themselves. Be skeptical. Question authority. Don't believe everything you hear. Everybody's got their head in the sands and they're just, you know how it is. You see it in the world all the time. I don't have to explain it to you guys. And so this platform, Intuitive Mind Solutions, is just that. It's just a community building platform to bring people together to talk. And I will stand by your side. I will hold your hand. I have your back in whatever you guys do. And that's just the beginning. That's what I can do at this moment in my life. And that's my motivation, is to get people to realize how powerful we are when we work together. Sounds a little idealistic.
So are any other clinics currently using Centerpoint?
Right now, we have a few in Germany, like I'm doing, and the psychology clinic where a colleague works, and then my clinics in Eindhoven, and then in the Netherlands, and where I use our clinic where I work for somebody else at the other one in Heerlen. And so right now, everything moves so fast, and now we're just in the beginning stage of sharing it with other chiropractors. Chiropractors are the first ones that get the opportunity to learn it. And I've created an online program. So then I'm teaching people now how to use Centerpoint on a virtual level. So then if they're doing telehealth, if they can't see their clients, they can do Centerpoint sessions with their clients via this platform we're on right now. And so then I'm training chiropractors. I'm licensing them right now. So I have no licensees right now because they haven't done all the work to be licensed yet. Got to demonstrate that they can do it. And that's where I'm at right now on it. So if you're a chiropractor listening to this and you want to learn more, just go check out centerpointmeditation.com is all I can say. I'm not pushing people to me. I'm just telling people what we're doing. And if you're interested, it's there. I would love to be able to share this with as many people as I can.
How do you think chiropractic might change if every office started using this technique?
Clients will have a lot less issues during the time in between their adjustments. It gives them something to do. It gives them an awareness of what their mental state is doing to their physical body. So it empowers them. This isn't something that I say to my clients that this is a replacement for your chiropractic adjustments, because subluxations will come in your body all the time. And so addressing your system, making sure everything's in order, getting checked is very important for your system. So I think it will enhance the chiropractic profession, because what are the 3 T's, Jim?
Thoughts, traumas, toxin.
Yeah. So this technique has a basis on addressing the thoughts or the mental stress side of things. So this, to me, is like, if this is chiropractic and this is Centerpoint, it's like this. It's definitely going to enhance your ability to assess your client's mental state as well. Because, yeah, if you're adjusting somebody all the time in the same pattern and you've never talked to them about what their mental state is doing to them, then you're missing the boat. You're missing a huge component. It's the same thing if you're not asking them what they're putting in their body. If they're not getting better with your adjustments, then you have to address the chemical side, the toxin side. So that's another thing. So, and there's applied kinesiology. There's TBM, total body modification. There's many different techniques that use testing for toxicity in the body and what supplements the body needs. But as far as techniques that go right in and only to the mental status, there's not many out there. Not many that I know about.
So where do you see the profession heading in the next 20 years?
In the US or in the Netherlands?
In the world?
In the world. Yeah, that's a good one. Where I see it going or where I hope it's going?
Both.
So idealistically, I would say where I would hope that it would go is that there's a chiropractor in even every school, and every newborn is checked the second they're delivered. And people have to be under chiropractic care as kind of like, I don't want to make it mandatory, but idealistically, I would love it if every single human being on the planet was constantly checked because they knew how important their nervous system was. I mean, think about it. Think if you had a chiropractor in every school that would check every student of the school. Think about that. Think about how much power that would have on a school's program. Educationally, athletically, everything. So that would be the most idealistic thing, is that everybody in the world knows what chiropractic is and everybody gets checked. And where do I think it's going? It's going to where we're growing. It's not going to stop growing. The truth remains the truth. And as the more people wake up, I think that we have potential to get more investors into our profession, more support. I would like to see a chiropractic insurance company open, backed by people pay a premium for unlimited chiropractic. And then you get what I'm saying with that, to where we battle the regular insurance companies that are out there with a different version. And that would be something that would be able to kind of fight that current system we're dealing with now, with the insurance companies dictating patient care. You know, when I lived in California and you had this insurance company told me, they're like, yeah, you can't do this, this, and this, and we're not going to reimburse you. And I said to them, I go, well, okay, this call's over. I don't want your service, and I don't give a shit what you say, because you're not a chiropractor and you're not responsible for the care of my clients. Sorry. So for you to say that, I don't want to work with you at all, period. Sorry. And people need to stand against that. But the problem is, or the challenge is people have to pay their bills, right? So chiropractors will abide by it in order to pay for their offices if they have to, if they're struggling. And that's what I think the tragic truth is behind it, is that they will settle and they will let the insurance company push them around so they can get paid.
Even if it's at 30% of their bill.
Yeah. So that's the type of resistance we're having. And I think with what I see on Facebook, I'm part of a lot of groups. I don't say a lot in these groups, but I like to observe and see how it's working, and how people communicate. But the groups are expanding big time in chiropractic groups you see on social media. And finding that common glue that can unite all the chiropractors together, I think, is a very important thing. I would love to see more people go on to Skip Weiss's program, the One Spine, One World. Give him a shout out for that. Just Facebook search that if you're a chiropractor and you want to join an army of chiropractors that want to be that idealistic thing I've mentioned.
Yeah, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense to me. Is the model that we live in right now is for sickness and disease. It's not for health and wellness. And that's really what we've been doing since we started our podcast and made documentaries on the profession, was to show people that, yeah, you can abide by a sick care model. And crisis care is important. And when you have a deep entrenched illness, you need some specialist attention from time to time. And that's why they go to school and they get, degrees in pharmacology and treatment of disease. But there's also the other side of it is, like you said earlier, personal responsibility. And what does it mean to live a valued, healthy life? And let's not wait to the point where we have a huge trauma. And I think what you're saying is, yeah, it would be really great if chiropractors were helping people in developmental stages. Chiropractors would be great if post-surgery people were getting their atlas checked and adjusted. Would it probably heal up their injury or their dysfunction faster? Yeah, of course, because we know that a nervous system that functions better, the body heals quicker. And whether people want to give credit or discredit that the adjustment helps with the immune system, when you put a vertebrae back into alignment that's putting pressure on the nervous system, that's going to reduce the functionality of the immune system. And you can go to Grey's Anatomy right now and you can look at those charts and see where the nervous system has a direct influence on the spinal cord. And when the spinal cord is severed or out of place, it's going to have an effect on the immunity. So I think when we understand that we want healthy kids, we want people that are infirmary healthy, and we want them to heal quicker, we have to understand that there's a lot of education needs to be done. And we need to move from the paradigm of discrediting one another and work more in cooperation, like you said. So I think that when we come to being an actual health providing culture, that we need to work more in union with each other rather than saying, hey, you're right and I'm wrong. And everybody has a different type of methodology that they follow. I mean, if you looked at all the acronyms that you've thrown out for what people do to focus on the body and the brain balance, yeah, it's under a banner of chiropractic. But every chiropractor figures out a way to use their skill sets to make people improve with their health and vitality. So I think what you're saying all makes sense.
And the thing is, because I work with I've worked with many really super chiropractors around the world, right? I've worked with a lot of different techniques. I've worked with these people. And so the thing is, here's a fact. Tell me if I'm wrong. No two chiropractors in the world treat the same way.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just it.
The art of the chiropractor is based on that individual themselves. So they take everything they've learned, and that's where you get in this thing where he's not good. He's better than, or I'm better than him because he does this, this, and this. But the thing is, even though there's different techniques in chiropractic, the same goal is the same goal: getting their nervous system to work better, right? And I tell people in my chiropractic office that I was in today, when I have discussions with them about the differences in techniques that my colleagues do in comparison to me, I go, our clinic's strength is the fact that we are all different at how we adjust our clients. That is power. That diversity and the differences that we have gives us a unique quality, because we embrace the differences that exist between us. It makes fun for jokes between each other, but the differences in how we adjust our clients is a powerful thing, and the same goal: getting the nervous system to work better.
Well, it's the same thing, Dr. Matt. We could say the complexities of success. What does that mean to you? I could ask Luke what the complexities of success meant to him, and we'd all have a different version of what success personally meant to us. Well, in chiropractic, the same complexity of success is the adjustment. And if we look to the adjustment as a success, the idea of failure now within chiropractic is to not adjust. So if we look at the adjustment as the one thing, the commonality of the success, then we need to support the adjustment for success of the patient or the whatever you want to label that person as your practice member. Everybody that comes into your office or clinic, semantics matter. So wherever you're providing care or adjustments, the one thing that's the real thing is that when you adjust, that's success in chiropractic. And when you fail, you do not adjust. So all chiropractors need to understand that the adjustment is very unique to the provider, but the way that you adjust is a different success quotient to the way that the person that is taking care of Luke and I adjusts. And the outcome is the adjustment.
Yeah. And that the function of their nervous system is restored, whether you adjust it with diversified or Gonstead or toggle. It as long as they're getting adjusted, that's the most important thing. And that's it. If I'm on vacation and my clients want to go to another chiropractor in my town, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, go see him. He's awesome. Don't go to your doctor and go get medicine. If you need help, go see another chiropractor. That's the most important thing. And that's the type of thing that I see in the chiropractic community, is that there's a lot of like technique battles. And that makes me really sad, because it's unnecessary. It's like this, I don't want to say it like this, but it feels like surrounded by a bunch of ego practors. And it's just, it's not about that. It's treatment plans, learning from other people's histories. I think that's the best part, is when you learn what other people are doing, and you learn on other alternatives, and how, every time I'm with other chiropractors, I'm always wanting to know how they're doing this way. And I say, oh, that's interesting. And that improves my ability to understand how other chiropractors are working. Be like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do it that way? And then you hear and you're like, oh. And I could be learning that from a person straight out of school. I'm well close to 200,000 probably adjustments in the last 12 years. And if I could learn that from a student in school, and I'm like still wanting to learn any alternative I can in order to serve my clients the best way possible. But that doesn't happen because people get stuck in their belief systems and their systems that they're doing as being the only way. But that's not how chiropractic works, because there's how many different techniques? Some say 200. I don't know that number exactly, but if it's 200, where's the glue that gives that group of chiropractors continuity? There isn't any. And that's what we're lacking as chiropractic profession, is a glue that connects us all together. And it should just be basically the green books.
So what kind of books do you like to read? What podcasts do you listen to? And what are some of your hobbies?
Well, books now, recently I've been doing a lot of, I'm going back into old school books. I'm learning more into like SOT technique, the BGI technique, network spinal analysis technique. And I'm refining all my techniques now, because use it or lose it. So I'm refining my skills as a chiropractor. So I'm completely off all other books. If it's a chiropractic technique book, it is where I want to put my head in now. In videos, I'm working with Skip Weiss's Prime Pediatric program to enhance my ability to treat babies, as I just had a daughter 5 months ago. And I want to refine and improve my ability to serve my daughter, because I wasn't into that zone as before I had a child. That wasn't my client base. And now I have to jump into it, and I want to make sure my daughter is subluxation free as often as possible. And hobbies, I was doing CrossFit, but then stupid movement while I was doing a move in the house. I was moving the furniture down some stairs, and I tore my MCL and my meniscus in my knee. So that went out. And but other hobbies now is just I don't really have any hobbies because I'm trying to build that online CPM world because of the COVID-19 situation. So I had to kind of fast forward my plan. I didn't have a plan until next year to do the online program. So now shift, adapt, and that's where I'm at, is building that program so it's the best thing that I can give people that want to learn center point. And podcasting now, I'm listening to Skip's podcast just because it's about helping babies. And that's what I have in the background.
So what are some websites people can visit if they want to learn more about Centerpoint? Centerpointmeditation.com.
And that's the basic website I have. I have a few other links like, intuitivemindSolutions.com. And that's where I have people that we're having on our podcast and their business. So like your business will be on that. It is on that site. Chiro Hustle is on that site. So then when people click it, they get direct link to Chiro Hustle. They're going to be direct link to our interview we had on our show with you, Jim. And so intuitivemindSolutions.com, centerpointmeditation.com, those are the two main ones. And if you go to the Centerpoint site, I have a free book for people in order to kind of dive into the rabbit hole of Centerpoint, because it does have a little bit to do with quantum physics, biology, and it's kind of a prerequisite to learn the Centerpoint technique because you have to have the background information and education in order for us to move forward. And so I'm presenting kind of a rabbit hole for people to go into. First, they check out the free book, and if they are interested in more, then we talk further.
All right. So everyone should head out, get that book, contact Matthew. That pretty much brings us to the end of this episode, Matthew. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Not really. I really appreciate you guys getting me on the show with you guys. Hope it was informational for people listening. Sometimes I can ramble a little bit too much, but that's what happens when you get nervous.
That's all right. No,
I keep seeing the live button in the top. But yeah, thanks a lot for having me. I really do appreciate you guys. And I love seeing how you guys are standing in the front lines, tip of the spear type thing, not afraid to get your voice out. And Jim, if you ever run for president in the U.S., I'll be your running mate.
Awesome, brother. Well, I just want to thank you for being our guest today, and thank you for hosting me on your show. And I think that there's a lot of value that we bring together. So thank you for sharing your truth and the purpose behind the work that you do. And I look forward to seeing your little girl someday. And just want to say thank you so much for sharing on Chiro Hustle.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And thanks again for having me. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. See you.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.